Hi, I am Deborra-lee Furness. I'm co-founder of Hopeland here in New York, and I have the privilege of interviewing Nikolai Kuleba, who is the founder of Save Ukraine and is doing amazing work of reuniting families, keeping families together, rescuing children from horrific situations. And it is my pleasure to talk to you today.
Thank you so much, Deborah. I'm Nikolai Kuleba, and I am Children's Ombudsman with the President of Ukraine for the last 7 years. And just now I resigned 1 year ago, and I'm a founder and CEO of Save Ukraine Fund, who rescuing children and families from combat zones and rebuilding their lives.
So Nikolai, firstly, what you do is amazing. What you and your team do is amazing. Can I just say it's such a privilege to talk to you because of what you are achieving and doing in Ukraine and saving vulnerable children. And I'm so impressed with what you do.
Thank you, Deborah. It's such a privilege to me to stand with you for our children and families and to rescue them in these worst circumstances from war zone and to help rebuild their life.
So can you just give us an overview of what Save Ukraine does?
It's every day from the first invasion from 2014, every day of rescuing children and families around the clock. We started this 8 years ago when Russians came first time and occupied part of Ukraine, Crimea, and two regions on the east. And we developed some teams there who help children and families be rescued from combat zones. And it was our first experience how we help children and families, because it was totally new. We've never had this. I only heard about World War II, about Germans, and it was like a history, but I never could imagine. I worked 22 years in child protection, but I could imagine that Russia grabbed part of our country and killed civilians, and a lot of children experienced orphanhood. Yeah, and because their father was killed or mother were killed. Yeah, and it was a nightmare. Yeah.
So you had to learn on the job. That's what I'm saying, how you set this up in such a short time. Like you just it had to be an immediate response, and you had to learn on the job what to do. What's involved in a rescue? What actually happens? You hear about it from families. Is there a communication with people there? How do you get to know who needs help?
Oh, you know, we develop hotline, and we have 300 calls a day from people who want to be rescued from combat zones, and we connect with these people through hotline, and we agreed about evacuation. Then we involve our teams who is more close to that area where this family, and we send our clothes team to that place, and our hotline works 24/7. And because sometimes people calling at night because they are sitting in a bomb shelter or basements of buildings, and they have no connection. But sometimes if they found connection or can charge a battery, they immediately call to our hotline and ask, please, can I be rescued tomorrow? And we were rescued close 70,000 women and children from this war began from February 24th. Yeah, and
you guys are in danger. This is dangerous. You're going straight into where the fighting is. So all your team are in danger. They're risking their lives literally for every rescue, right?
Oh yeah, it's very dangerous because it's a war zone, and sometimes we cannot go to that city or village because it's huge challenge, and we stop evacuation. And before evacuation, we have a special team who check that area is it possible to reach there or not? And we have just now 60 different type of vehicles. It is armored cars, ambulances, armored buses, vans, and it depends on how dangerous we use armored cars, or ambulances, or buses to reach these people. And if it's any person with disability, we use a special transport to rescue only one person from combat zone, because sometimes it's impossible for them to go to the basements of building and they live in danger. That's why neighbors or relatives can call and say, guys, can you help, please? Can you rescue this person, or another volunteers? Yeah, that's why we are building logistic every day. It's different. For example, I have a plan just now, plan for tomorrow, but I'm not sure that we will realize it, because tomorrow could be a totally different day for rescue operations.
How did you get the funds to get all these cars and things together in this situation? How do you raise funds? Does everyone step up? Do you have to reach out? How do you get the funds to get the infrastructure to make this all happen?
It's maybe most difficult because for us, government not cover any expenses. It is private funds, yeah, because government more involved in military operations to support militaries, no civilians, and
there's no government funding to protect their civilians.
No funds. Government, for example, just now it's a huge problem to find any accommodation for civilians, because everything, all regions, especially Western region, is full of people, of families, and people can live in the basement there, or in the big warehouses where no appropriate condition of buildings for a living.
It's like squatting in whatever has been, what buildings and homes have been left, because people have fled. So people come in and squat in whatever is available. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but it's very hard to find a place for example, for people with disabilities, accessible for people with disabilities. Yeah, and we are looking for the best solution for these families, because our uniqueness of Save Ukraine, it is no left, no one behind. We don't left no one behind, and we not only transport people to deliver or resettlement. No, we take person, take family, women, children. We assess their needs, and then we meet their needs. We send them to our hubs first for emergency assistance. And then after we assess their needs, we define what kind of services this family need. And then we send this family to, for example, to our Hope and Healing Center, or to a community center, or center who experience sexual abuse, or center for abandoned elderlies. It depends what kind of situation.
I want to talk about your healing center in a minute, because trauma is a big one for me. But what about just food supplies? Where are these coming from? How are you getting food supplies?
It's very hard to explain what happened there when family, and especially child, experience 6 months or 7 months living in the basement, no electricity, no water, no proper condition of life, and we understand how hard it is. That's why we develop our rescue backpacks for children for the first some days during evacuation, when we send them to our hubs, and it is a food, it is a water, it is a light, it is the a coat, cover. It is everything for the first time because it is very bad condition, was very bad condition of life, and people very afraid. It's hard to explain when they live in the very bad condition of life, but you come there and tell, we can rescue and you can live in safer areas, but a family tell me, we don't believe. We are very afraid to go out because we believe that they will kill us. Russians will kill us because it is challenge, and they have a fear. And if we can spend hours and hours to communicate with this family before they agree to leave this area with us. Especially me, I had this a lot of times, and we need this time because I understand how hard for this family to make decision, for children too, because yeah, it's no electricity, no food, no appropriate, but we don't know what happened in some days there. We are not sure that you will help us.
This is what I want to address, is the trauma, exactly what you're talking about, these conditions and the deprivation, and children not being able to play if they're stuck in a basement, light, basic nutrition, which affects our whole body, mind, and soul, plus the fear. There is so much trauma. And this to me is, and so these people aren't even able to be in a safe or sane state of mind to even operate. So is that what your healing center is addressing? Do you have professional people who work in the area of knowing how to address the trauma? Because this to me is a huge piece of this whole situation.
Yeah, children have seen and experienced death and destruction that no child should ever have to know. And for example, just yesterday, we talked with our hub in Kharkiv region, where is the family with children who've been evacuated from war zone. And someday they are sitting in a room and they don't want to exit this room. They are very afraid and they cannot go to toilet. And we organize toilet there, and we ask our hub's workers to send them to our Hope and Healing Center, especially to meet their needs, to identify what happened, because they don't know. This family don't tell them something about themselves, what happened with them. We can only imagine that it was horrible, something horrible. And after they send them to us, we will send a special transport only to agree and take them to our center. And the war is stealing our children's childhood, and we must help them to heal and restore their joy. We have our two healing Hope and Healing centers in the capital, in Kiev, and we have a special trauma therapy for these women and children. Yeah, and we have staff who care and can identify what is a problem, and then through this program to give them hope and to recover this family and these children. And we have tons of stories how we change children's and families' life after trauma therapy. And first of all, what they need: safety, permanence, well-being, and we support first. We create a proper condition of life and a love atmosphere around them, and then through a building relation, we help them to go through all the experience and after rehabilitation to find to adapt their life to new realities, to rebuild their life, to find a job, to send children to school. And just 2 days before, I came to a center, and a director of a center told me, "Oh, Masha first time went to school after 1 year interruption. First time, first day." And I met that girl, a 13 years girl, and she was happy. She was happy to meet another kids and to be like another kids, and laugh like another kids, and live and be started at school. And it's excellent. It's happening. I'm happy.
I can see. I love that. Nikolai, can you tell me about the backpacks? And I love that you do the backpacks. I want to know what you have in them, because I am also a founder of an organization in Australia called Adopt Change. And these are children that are displaced from their family. And it is so important that we give them a little backpack, that they have something that is theirs, that they own, that gives them a sense of security, and having even a teddy bear or whatever. So I love that you do provide backpacks. What's in your backpacks?
Thank you, Deborah. We developed this program especially to provide emergency assistance for children whom we evacuate every day, because we've seen that a lot of them months and months without necessities, without water, food, in bad condition of basements, and we've seen that they need during evacuation this support, this kind of support, and that's why we especially form these backpacks. It's life packs for children who experience the war traumas, and children can find the supplies there who will help kids survive during evacuation and after that. That's why for us this project extremely important to support a child, and there is a lot of for example, soft animals there, everything to show the love and care for this child, and to let the child to play with a toy, but not to think that a child left their home and about what they going in what place and other things which traumatize a child more. That's why our life backpack program is very important for child we evacuate.
I completely agree. And play is part of healing for these children, and having something, a comfort of a soft toy. I would like to just put it out there internationally, and it would take a courageous person. I assume you would need volunteers who are trauma informed because the need is so great. So I just want to say, while we're talking, if anyone's listening, they could contact you. Yes. If you need more volunteers to come and help with the kids and the education.
Oh yeah.
And are the schools open? I mean, there are schools open?
Yeah, our schools open, but it depends of when alarms ring, schools close, children go to the basement, or after the huge challenge, school is closed. They could be closed for a week. Yeah, that's why it's when we lived with the COVID times, we thought it's a catastrophe because school is closed, it's online education. But now it's worse, 1,000 times worse for children. Yeah, because it's no safety. It's no safety in permanency. 65.
I can't imagine what that feels like. Yes.
65% of children's population were displaced. 65% children experience fleeing the war.
How many children these children, do you have data? Do you have statistics on how many children have been orphaned since this war started?
We have it's several thousand of children are orphaned, and more children lost one of the parents. Yes. Because orphan is the lost two parents, but it's tens of thousands who lost one of the parents. But the tragedy of this situation is hundreds of thousands of of fathers are militaries, and they are dying in this war. And another problem, that Russia kidnapped more than 500,000 of Ukrainian children. 10% of Ukrainian children were deported with families or kidnapped by Russians.
With their families, or the children were taken from their families?
It's departed with their families, but several thousand children were kidnapped from Mariupol.
On their own. So they just take.
Yes, it's unaccompanied children. It's unaccompanied. Just yesterday, we finished our rescue operation of 8 kids who were deported to Russia, who were kidnapped by Russians. And we found mothers, because mothers met after the liberation of some our territories. We found mothers who told us, our children in Russia Federation, Russians took them like to their camps. And we organized a special operation with this mother to take their children back. And after 8 days of traveling, because it was through Poland, Belarus, Russia, and it was several thousand kilometers, they met. We have this video. It's hard to
Being reunited.
It's hard to watch this without tears. Yeah, and where mothers met, they haven't seen 3 months of their kids, and they met these kids and took to our center. And just now they're in Kiev in our center. And yesterday I met them. We spent some time, and children are happy, because if not, Russians send them to adoption. If not, because they develop a law, a legislation, they put inside this law when they can easily give Russian citizenship to any child without unaccompanied child, and to send to and to allow adopt this child. And after that, during adoption process, Russian government can change last name and the date of birth of this child, and we will never find this child anymore.
It is unbelievable. And what I've heard is, I know a lot of these kids, unaccompanied kids, or the kids that were already in orphanages, when they are traveling, say, to get out of the country, that they are so vulnerable to child trafficking. Is that a big worry that you see?
Oh yeah. It's maybe half of children are abroad. One part, maybe 20%, in Russia Federation and occupied territories of Ukraine, 10% in Russia, 10% in occupied territories, and another 25% were fleeing the war abroad. And they live in Poland, Germany, and in other countries. And it is vulnerable children. A lot of them are vulnerable. And a human trafficking problem is so high.
Is someone working? Are you associated with that, or do you know that people are attending to that to protect these children? Because I know at the borders, like a friend of mine was there and saw that these predators know that this is happening, and they come in ready to grab them. Do you know if there are people on the front line sort of looking for this and trying to protect these children?
Yeah, we develop special programs for such children who could be trafficked. And we, for example, from the war began, we sent 23 orphanages to abroad, to our partners who control what happened with them, with the government. And we send thousands and thousands women and children to Poland, Germany, Austria, and for Canada, United States, and it's especially our partners who protect their rights and who communicate with the government, and all time we are in communication, and we know what happened there. It's only one way to help them, to be in touch. That's why our hotline is so important, when people can call anytime and tell us, oh, we have a problem, or our child suffer and nobody want to help, and we protect them. And we have a special center for children and women who experience sexual abuse by the war, and they can live and have a trauma therapy in such a center, and especially child. And our teams in combat zones identify women who experience sexual abuse, and we help them to send to our center. And we have a professional team who work around the clock there.
Nikolai, how do you see the situation at the moment? Are you aware that this is going to winter is coming? What's the temperature with the Russians? How do you see the situation? Is it going to be, are you prepared for it being worse?
40% of energy infrastructure has been targeted and damaged, as below freezing temperatures being in Ukraine. Children and families that were living in homes with blowout windows and bullet-ridden roofs with plastic tarps are seeking suffer shelter, and they won't be survived before this winter time. It's winter time soon. It's not winter, but it's pretty cold just now.
You've got to be prepared for what's coming.
Yeah, before this time, we were very afraid that they could be killed anytime. But just now, we're more afraid that they could die before winter time. Because winter time, no food. I am concerned about the additional trauma children with experience going through period without heat or electricity.
Or
it is nutrition too. It's maybe 3 or 4 biggest problems now: shellings, nutrition, electricity, and heaters.
So while we have this platform, what do you want to put out there? How can people help? Can people send blankets? Can people donate? I heard it's with $100 that you can literally, that's a rescue mission for a child. It costs $100. So if everyone could send $100, you can rescue a child. What else? How else can people contribute? Like, what is needed?
Deborah, thank you so much for this question, because it is so important question. We all time ask people, help us, and we can help more children and families together with you. And right now, we have so many children and families that we need to evacuate, and children who are in unlivable conditions, and we must do it quickly before the worst of winter weather will come. It is very important. You can support these efforts by donating to cover the cost to evacuate a child, and a backpack that provides evacuation essential for children along their journey. And next thing, we need support with energy equipment, with the electric generator, to keep our centers, hubs, and families warm and ensure a safe place for them to receive critical services. We want our centers to be a consistent source of warmth and hope amidst these dark days. And
hope is so important. Yes. Well, our organization is Hopeland, and you, as humans, we have to have hope.
Oh yeah. And third thing, share what you know to raise awareness. Don't stop talking about how the war is impacting children and families. Please share what you have had here to raise more awareness to what is happening. And I very grateful to you that you are not afraid to tell truth, and that you are standing with us, praying with us. And we believe that we will win, because we want our children grow in happiness, in independent country with their parents. That's why our main goal is strengthening families, to rescue them from war zone and to rebuild their lives. It's our main goal.
It's our mission too with Hopeland, is that every child deserves a loving family, and keeping families together is it's such a priority so that they can thrive. So we have the same mission. I am thrilled that we can use our platform to help you. And I ask everyone who's listening to this, please keep sharing this awareness, do what you can. And Nikolai, please, thank you to all your team and for everything you do. You're doing amazing work. And I love that, because the trauma piece is so important. So I love that you're providing that as well as food and shelter.
Thank you, Deborah. We can only thank you and your husband, your organization, for such a great work you're doing. And we believe that together we can make our children's future brighter. Yeah, and we will do this. I believe this.
We've all got to join together. It takes a village, a global village.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nikolai.